Welcome to a new era of pioneers, to a better way to do business. Revenue innovators are ushering in new revenue models and multi-channel selling. They're pioneering a future where the buying and selling experience is faster, easier, and more personal. Revenue innovators don't just adapt, they lead the way, unleashing a composable solution to meet any revenue need. Welcome the all-new Revenue Cloud. With API-first design and AI-driven automation, you'll turn data into action anywhere you transact. Welcome to breaking barriers, inspiring innovation, and reimagining the buying and selling experience, all on the Salesforce platform. Welcome to the future of Revenue Cloud.
Will you please welcome to the stage the GM of Revenue Cloud, Meredith Schmidt.
This is so awkward, I'll say. I can't tell what's happening around here. So, hello and welcome to the Revenue Cloud keynote. Thank you so much for each and every one of you for being here today in this awkward headstone, disco, whatever keynote. So, it is because of you, our customers and our partners, that we are the #1 CPQ on the market. We have been a leader in the Magic Quadrant for the last 7 years. We are #1 CPQ on G2 thanks to all of the customers, thousands of reviews. And we love talking to our customers. We love talking to you, learning about how you're transforming your businesses and how you're innovating. We've seen amazing results. We are processing over 1 million orders on a peak day. That's pretty crazy. 14 million quotes every month and almost $100 billion, with a B, dollars of revenue under management with our billing product. But we started long before we were the #1 CPQ. When I joined Salesforce in 2005, I was so frustrated shifting around piles and piles of paper, looking for some quotes. So I asked the simple question, can we please create a quote object inside of Sales Cloud? So we did exactly that. And my goal and vision for Salesforce was to really automate everything from quote to cash. And what we did is we bought 2 amazing CPQs. Now we were using a CPQ, and I did not like that tool. So we went out, we bought Velocity and SteelBrick to really capture every single industry. We were really here to support the first wave of direct selling, subscriptions, but things are changing, and we're changing with you. We heard from our customers, hybrid revenue models. People want to sell usage and consumption alongside of their subscriptions, and channels are a must, right? Half of B2B revenue is going through a partner. And of course, as B2B buyers, you want the same experience as B2C, as you and I get every day as consumers. So we're bringing that to you. And AI used to be a luxury. As you've heard, if you haven't gotten the message this week, AI is a necessity now. But let me paint a picture for you. Let me paint a picture of the future. Imagine going from a world of inflexible, monolithic, rigid technology to a world of composability, an API first, where you can bring all the same experiences no matter what channel you're on. Partner, direct sales, commerce. Imagine a world where you don't have to call up your deal desk and ask for a pricing approval, or call up your finance business partner and try to get payment terms approved. Instead, you've got a deal desk agent working alongside of you every step of the way, helping you maximize revenue, maximize your commissions, and close that deal faster. And imagine a world where you're not managing multiple price books and thousands of SKUs to a single attribute-based product catalog that is powered by a rules engine, and again, build once and deploy everywhere. And imagine a world where you're not trying to connect disconnected tools and point solutions and creating data silos to a single unified revenue platform. That future is now, and the future is our new Revenue Cloud. With that, I would like to invite my friend and partner in crime, Brian Schweers, to the stage. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Meredith.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here early this morning. Who went to the concert last night? So especially thank you to everyone that went to the concert and is already here this morning. I'm so excited to be here today. We were here last year and we were talking about what we were building. And what happened? Did I push the wrong button? There we go. All right. Last year we were talking about what we were going to build. This year we're here to show you what we did build. And in fact, we went GA in February with the new Revenue Cloud. That's a complete revenue platform and an application from product to cash that's fully integrated with the other horizontal and vertical clouds within Salesforce that can be deployed into your external systems because it's API first, because it's composable, and it supports any channel, direct sales, indirect sales, partner sales, in-app sales, supports any revenue model across any industry. And you're gonna learn a lot more about that today. And I will tell you, if you're in this room today, you may know a thing or two about CPQ or billing. And you probably know that CPQ is not a one-size-fits-all proposition, right? So, we've got a CPQ, as Meredith said, that's been the #1 or Gartner Magic Quadrant leader for 7 years in a row. G2 Crowd loves us. It ain't going nowhere. If you're using CPQ, you want to continue to use CPQ, great solution. But what we've heard from our customers is they want more. They needed it to be composable. Why? And which? Oh, it did? Yeah. Oh, there's just a delay. Okay. So what we wanted to do is extend what CPQ and billing do to do so much more. We needed a composable product catalog. We needed a composable price engine. We wanted to introduce contracts that are part of the flow of work, and you'll see that today in the demo. And not only orders, but order orchestration, decomposition of orders, so that companies that sell complex products and services can fulfill them in a very seamless, orchestrated way. And again, you'll see that today. And then, of course, moving billing to core so that it all works together on this composable product platform from product to cash. Okay, there we go. And that's what we mean by Revenue Cloud as both an application and as a platform. With Revenue Cloud, we are now able to support one-time charges, subscription, evergreen subscription, usage-based, or consumption models, all in a single quote, one or more orders for direct sales, indirect sales, etc. And because it's all built on core, then you can use AI, Agentforce, in every step of the process. And you'll see that throughout the demo today. If I'm a product data manager, I want AI to help me understand what changes do I need to make to my product catalog. If I'm a price analyst, I need AI to help me understand what changes I need to make to my discount schedule or my list prices, or how my products are doing in certain regions or channels. If I'm a sales rep, I may want to know I may want to use AI to help me determine what the right price is for my product, for my quote, or what products to sell my customer, right? So every step of the way, we can enable AI agents to help us, to help those individual personas do that job. So, a little bit about our journey. We started by building the product catalog and the price engine. This time last year at Dreamforce, we had that going. What we did from there then was we started to build orders and quotes that leverage this reimagined product catalog and pricing engine. And having done that, we introduced contracts. And then with the summer release, we introduced dynamic revenue orchestration. So over the last several releases, we went from product and price to quotes and orders to DRO, or dynamic revenue orchestration, and continuing that journey with the winter release. I'm excited to announce today that we have launched with the winter release invoice management on core. And you'll see a bit of this in the demo today. There's more work to do in billing. We'll see that if you come to our roadmap session later today. But as of the winter release, we are now managing invoices on the core platform. The other exciting piece of news is consumption-based selling. With the winter release, we now support consumption-based selling. And again, you'll see that today. And I guess I could probably sit here and talk for the next 32 minutes and 54 seconds, but I think you'd rather see the software in action. So let me introduce my friend and colleague, Arun, to the stage and let him show you what his team has built.
Thank you, Brian. Folks, I'm Arun Abhishandani. I have the privilege of leading the product team at Revenue Cloud. I also want to introduce you to David, who's an amazing demo driver today. So, as Brian said, it all starts with a centralized product catalog. So you can build once and deploy anywhere. Now, historically, what's happened is the product and pricing administrators have often been overlooked, right? We focus on the end users, but that's not what we did in Revenue Cloud. What we've done in Revenue Cloud is we have built user persona-driven experiences so that you can take products to market faster. As an example, what you see over here is a visual builder for product administrators with dynamic attributes, allowing you to create hierarchical product models with templates so you can roll it out faster to the market. And for our pricing administrators as well. Again, a visual drag and drop editor with pre-built pricing elements that you can drag into your pricing procedure to create the pricing flow that you need for your business. Whether that's for volume pricing, tier pricing, attribute-based pricing, or more that you could put in. All with the transparency so that you can actually show how you got from the list price to the net price, and then you have simulation so you can roll out the changes with confidence. Now, going from administrators to users, with the direct selling channel, we focus on that too. And as we said, it's API first, it's composable, so you'll see how you can leverage our transaction management or CPQ in any channel, whether that's self-service or Slack, and David will show that to you in a bit. But when we talk about the direct selling channel, we still use it a lot today. That's in heavy use. What's our biggest competitor in the direct selling channel? It's Excel, right? So we heard you, and what we've done is we've brought Excel-like experiences into the transaction line editor that you see here. So you can do inline edits, you can freeze columns, you can filter, you can sort, you can do all of that driven and powered by the rules and pricing so that you can build your code with confidence and you don't have to swivel chair, copy, paste, and then hope for the best, right? So David, why don't we see that in action?
Let's do it, Arun. So we're going to slide over here and we'll get our story started. Now, before we begin, applause is encouraged and welcomed. And because I'm from the southeastern part of the United States, I allow hooting and I allow hollering. And I want all of you to do that. I want all the other folks in this room to look over here and say, shoot, we should have gone there instead. So help me out with that. So what we're going to do, there it is. Yes, come on. There we go. There we go. This is going to be a good time. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin our story in the life of one of our customers, Lee at Global Media. Now, for some context, you'll see QuantumBit in the top left-hand corner. That's the company that I'm representing today. So Lee starts his journey in the self-service portal with Revenue Cloud, where Lee is able to see some of the details about his contract with QuantumBit. He can see, for example, that he's got a renewal coming up in about 4 months. But more critically, he's alerted to the fact that he's about to go over, Global Media is about to go over on their API request product. So Lee drills down to see some of the additional information about their contract with QuantumBit. And as we can see, specifically in the details of the additional API, Lee gets a good and a quick understanding of where they're going over, what months, what specific features are driving the consumption. Now, from this point, Lee decides, let's come up here. I want to rectify the situation. Each additional API pack is $15,000. He decides he wants to up that quantity to 5, and you'll notice that includes a discount of about $11,000. From this point forward, Lee can transact. He's happy. Global Media is back on the right path, and we're all good to go. However, remember that renewal is only 4 months away. So Lee decides, I want to reach out to my sales representative at QuantumBit. So in this particular instance, I'm going to play the role of Carmen. Now, Lee reaches out and says, Carmen, got a couple questions about my renewal. Do you have a few minutes to take a look? So of course, I'm gonna reply and say, absolutely. And what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the power of Revenue Cloud and Slack together to go and do some research and drive customer success. So not only are we seeing Slack and Revenue Cloud, we're also going to bring Einstein into the mix. So we go over here, type in our message. Show me the contract information for global media. Now, think about the days and the weeks that your sellers spend looking for this kind of information. What do we have? What's currently on the contract? Einstein brings that back to me in an instant. So we're alerted to the fact that, yes, they are going over on their API calls. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize Einstein one more time, and we're going to create the renewal quote. So not only is it bringing back the contract information, it's actually creating the budgetary quote that I can then send to Lee over at Global Media. So let's do just that. We're going to forward that along. Lee, here's your budgetary quote. Hit forward. Lee replies, thanks for the quick turnaround. That was amazing. So what you just saw was self-service, Revenue Cloud, Slack, and a little bit of Einstein coming in and bringing everything together. So again, I can drive maximum customer success, and Lee is thrilled. Now, from this point, I want to take you a little bit further into the life of Carmen, our sales rep. So Einstein has us started in a great spot, but Carmen doesn't want to just stop there because, it's been a while since they've signed a contract. I want to go and put in some additional pricing concessions and maybe add an additional product or two. So I want to introduce you to Revenue Cloud within Salesforce. So again, Einstein has me started in a great spot. We've got the right products, the right quantities, pricing, discounting, everything we need. So what I want to do is we're going to dive in, and in this particular instance, Global Media decided that they wanted to actually downgrade their training. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as some leverage to ask for an additional discount and maybe upsell them on a couple other areas. I want to introduce to you product catalog management inside of Revenue Cloud. Not only is it an elegant way to guide your users through the sales process, it's incredibly powerful and deep and rich in capability. So we see the things that the products and the services that my customer already owns. Over on the right-hand side, I get quick visual indicators of we're canceling training for them. We're upselling some of the professional services as well as the additional APIs. Let's come over here. If we click into, remember they wanted to downgrade their training. So we're going to select that, and you'll again notice over on the right-hand side, we're canceling the essentials, we're adding the fundamentals. Again, my sales reps, this is the kind of thing that they're searching for to give a good understanding to their customer of here's what you own, here's how I'm helping you out. One of the other areas that Brian mentioned earlier was the concept of consumption-based or usage-based selling. That is something that we're introducing in Revenue Cloud, and it's incredibly exciting. Think about all the different ways that your customers want to buy from you. We support every one of them. So now that we've gone through and we've made the selections to update the contract for Global Media, I'm happy with what we have. Now what we want to talk through is the pricing engine within Revenue Cloud. There's a lot happening on the screen right now. We're selling one-time items like professional services. We're selling subscription items like the additional APIs, and we're selling usage items like the additional data throughput. We'll look at that here momentarily. Now, one of the things that we've heard from our customers here at Salesforce is we want a better understanding. How did we get to a certain price? And I wanted to show you the price waterfall that elegantly and clearly describes where did you start, what are the discounts or the additional attribute-based pricing that went throughout, and then what is the net at the end. This, again, is the kind of information that our customers are seeking. So from this point forward, I want to introduce to you also consumption-based pricing. Within Revenue Cloud, again, whether you're selling one-time, subscription, or based on consumption, we can support your models, and we're seeing that right here. They get 1 terabyte of data throughput out of the box, and then we can sell them additional tiers from that point forward as well. So I'm thrilled. Lee is thrilled at Global Media. Now we need to bring the next team online that I will also want to be thrilled, and that's the legal team. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put this in review, and then I'm going to call on my buddy Einstein to actually create a task for the legal team specifically. So let's open this up. I'm going to send this to my head of legal. You may know him. Yep, there we go. All right. Let's draft this with Einstein. I'm going to put in my message. And what we're doing is we're utilizing the deal desk agent to take my quote, to send it internally to my legal team, and to set up a task asking them to make some changes and some modifications to some of the contract clauses that Global Media was asking for. So there you go. It wrote the subject, it wrote the body of the email. We're sending that off as a task for Global Media, for my legal team. And that's the next thing we're going to check out. So Arun, what do you think?
That was amazing. There we go.
There we
So
go.
where David left off was sending it to the legal team.
Yes.
Now, folks, what you saw was Revenue Cloud, because it's API first, working in Slack, working in a direct selling channel, and then let's see where we go next, right? And it was with the right user experiences, regardless of the channel. Now, we want to also make sure that you can use contracts in the flow of work, so it makes it easier for the end-to-end flow. And that's what we've continued to do with contracts, focusing on continuing to innovate with contracts AI as well, and seeing how contracts in the end-to-end flow with product to cash makes it more efficient, not only for the sellers, but also for the legal team. So David, back to you.
Let's take a look. So what we're going to do is let's bring our next team online with our legal team. Let me go and grab my other prompt that I want here, my query. So Revenue Cloud, my friends, it's for the people. It's for everyone that wants to touch revenue throughout the life cycle of a sale. And so what we're going to focus on now is I'm going to put on another hat. I'm going to be a member of my legal team. One of the things that we hear so frequently is teams have to go into third-party and legacy systems to do their job. What we're trying to do is we're trying to bring that information, the critical information, part of a sale, we're trying to bring that to the front office. So now that Carmen has gone through the quoting process, she needs some revisions and some updates to the contract. Now, instead of just going and just redlining and making all the changes that I want to make as a member of the legal team, what we're going to do is I'm going to utilize the power of AI and vector search to actually go through and see where have we made changes before based on what the customer is asking. So I'm going to put in my query. Let's hit search. And what happens is within a matter of moments, it brings back 45 different contracts within our database that meet the criteria that I'm looking for. It has a clause or an update that would be very beneficial for our folks at Global Media. You'll also notice it's reverse sorting it by relevance, and it's giving me a summary, an Einstein summary at the top of each one to show me exactly why did it bring this back to me. This is the kind of thing in the flow of work, I think Brian said earlier, this is the kind of thing that's absolutely critical. It reduces swivel chairing and it keeps everybody reading from the same playbook of sales. I can get a good understanding of exactly why this was returned to me, what the segments are that may be relevant to my query. We can also go in and we can preview the specific document that was brought back. So if I want to take a look at this and say, all right, yep, this is what I was looking for. I've got a few clauses in here that we want to pull from. It's helping me keep within compliance of my organization's rules in our security structure, which is very, very important, of course, in the legal process. So from this point forward, I'm happy with what we found. Typically, you would go through rounds of internal revision and reviewers in a redlining process. So once that's complete, I also want to highlight to you a brand new innovation in the world of Revenue Cloud. So now that we've gone through and my legal team has passed it back and forth and made the updates and changes, we're ready to send it back to the customer. So the document that we've got here, it's version 3. But what did version 2 look like? How is it different? How is it the same from version 3? Good news, we're going to come up here and utilize the power of contract comparison to make my customer happy. So we're going to load in, we already have version 3 on the left-hand side. We're going to load in version 2. And then as quickly as we can see here, on the left-hand side is the current version. Over on the right-hand side, we've got, in this particular instance, blue lines, not red lines, of what the changes were and how they were made. Again, this is keeping everybody on the same page. We can confidently walk through the process as a sales team, as a legal team, partnering to drive maximum success for our friends at Global Media. This is the kind of detail that our customers are absolutely dying for, and we're thrilled to be able to deliver it within the world of Revenue Cloud. So from this point forward, everyone's good to go. The quote has now been approved. From this point forward, Lee's going to come up here and generate our PDF using our native DocGen within Salesforce. We see all of the details, the quantities, the prices, everything down to the penny, perfect. We send that off to our customer through e-signature. Lee, of course, is thrilled, right? Because he and Global Media is getting the additional APIs that they need. They're also, again, we reduced the training to help them save some costs there. And Carmen is thrilled because she closed the renewal about 4 months early. So at this point forward, they've accepted it. And we're going to come up here, and Carmen is going to kick off the ordering process. But before we see that, Arun, back to you.
All right, thank you, David. It was amazing, folks, again, right? We saw contracts in the flow of work with vector search with AI all coming together. So really amazing. Now, we've submitted the order. The order has been sent to the order management and billing systems. Usually what happens after that, we actually don't know because it's an opaque system. There's multiple bespoke processes behind connecting multiple systems to actually get the products the customers ordered or the services the customers ordered. But what do we actually need? What do our customers actually need? They need something that's automated. They need something that's intelligent, that's catalog and rules driven, that actually decomposes your order and creates your fulfillment journey based on what you have ordered, the products that are in the order, creating the swim lanes with the right dependencies so that you can bill only once a service is delivered, not the other way around, right? And with this visualization, you get the transparency not only for the fulfillment operators, but for everyone in the ecosystem. So your sales professionals, your service professionals as well. So all of this is done with what we call as Dynamic Revenue Orchestrator. David, let's see it in action. And before I go, I'm going to say, in honor of one of our speakers, channel your inner Simol Biles and stick the landing and show invoice management as well.
I am a huge Olympics fan, a huge Simone Biles fan. Let's stick the landing. I agree, Arun. So from this point forward, we're going to bring our third team online in the flow of work, and that's our order management team. So again, historically, and Arun, you mentioned this, CPQ has been largely for sales teams. And what I love about Revenue Cloud is we're bringing sales, legal, our customer, and we're bringing order management online. Now, you saw in my previous vignette that we went through and we created the order based on the sale that I just made. So what we're gonna do is, let me drop my contact in here real quick. Lee. Click save, and there we go. Let's go ahead and activate this order. So while that is activating, one of the things that we are so incredibly excited about, in fact, in my 8 years here at Salesforce, all focused on Revenue Cloud, this is the innovation that I'm probably the most excited about. So everyone check it out on the screen. Now, you may be used to orders on the Salesforce platform, right? No big deal. You've seen them before, you'll see them again. But what we're doing with them is incredibly innovative and incredibly exciting. Over on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see these are the commercial items that we sold. And over on the right-hand side of the screen, it's the technical items that need to be delivered or provisioned or entitled for our customer. This is the kind of information that historically has been locked away. Again, in legacy and third-party systems and ERPs, we're bringing it to the front office so that everyone, again, can read from the same playbook of sales. But not only am I excited about the order decomposition that we're seeing here, we just sold something and I've got to get it into the hands of my customer. Regardless of what it is that you sell, a service, a physical good, a subscription, regardless of what it is, you've got to get it into the hands of your customer. And so what we are incredibly excited about is our fulfillment plans that show the flow of work and the flow of delivery of a product into the hands of our customer. Oh no, a red item. It's okay. It's part of the demo. I baked that in there because we understand that sometimes fulfillment doesn't always go great, right? Sometimes there are delays. There are things that happen where we can't actually deliver on time. What I love about this is, again, it's bringing that visibility into me so that I can get a good understanding of, okay, what failed? What are the jeopardy rules? That's what this is referring to, that are calling this out so that I can go and I can make sure that we can rectify this as quickly as possible for our customer. Again, driving maximum customer success. Now, for the purpose of today, we'll go ahead and we'll just mark this as complete. And then you'll also notice that we have our billing initiated. Now, before we move on to our billing, one of the other areas that I want to call out is, I mentioned earlier, Revenue Cloud, it's for the people. And so think about your service agents. There's a use case that we're seeing very, very frequently in the market today, which is how can we drive more revenue through service agents, service contracts, and kind of post-sale flows. And that's what we're seeing here with the fulfillment plan. So think about it, a customer submits a case, they want to understand where are their items. This is the kind of information where we're bringing all of these folks together, again, to drive maximum customer success. So I'm thrilled about what we're doing here with the fulfillments. So what does this all ultimately lead to? Well, it ultimately leads, let's go back to global media here. It ultimately leads to the invoice being delivered to our customer. And that's what we're viewing here. I want to introduce to you invoice management built within Revenue Cloud. All the hard work that we've done to drive this renewal ultimately results in an invoice with individual invoice lines that again are down to the penny perfect that I can deliver to my customer. So from this point forward, we would take this, it includes all of the different calculations that are critical. We would take it, we would send it off for invoice presentation to our customer. We are hearing the market and we are responding with these incredible innovations within the world of Revenue Cloud. Now, one of the other things that we often hear is, okay, now we've gone through the process, we've sold these items, we've sold these assets. What does it look like for my customer? And I want to highlight to you the concept of customer asset lifecycle management. For most of the folks in the audience, you sell complex products and those products change over time. So how do you know where's the customer been, where are they currently, and where are they going in the future? And that's exactly what we're showing here. So they originally bought one API pack, I sold them 5 more, and now we're ramping into the future. Think about, again, the days and the weeks spent looking through contract line items and pulling out the calculator to try and add this up. That's what we're presenting here, again, to drive the flow of work. So I'm gonna land on one final innovation that you're gonna see a little bit later today at the roadmap session. Please attend at 3:15. And that is bringing you revenue and subscription analytics. This is the kind of information, again, all this work that we've done, all this hard work that we've done and delivered is because ultimately you wanna be able to report on that. And if we scroll down, we can see all of the details and the nuances about our contracts, the subscriptions, the renewals, it's all listed out here. So from initial contact all the way through to the analytics of the sale. That's what Revenue Cloud brings to you, and thus concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.
All right, give it up for David. That was amazing. So folks, you saw auto management or dynamic revenue orchestration with Fallout and SLAs as well. And not only can it, we call it dynamic revenue orchestration because not only can it orchestrate orders, but also other capabilities for finance, whether it's sending out a billing, comp, all of those things as well. Now, David and I can spend the rest of the time actually talking more about product. One of the things before I leave you is we have built it API first on the platform. And not only do we support horizontal applications, but because we're on the platform, we support all industries and all apps in the customer 360. So you can leverage the revenue capabilities across the board with everything that you saw. With that, I'd love to bring on stage Annie and our great customer, Veeam. Annie, over to you.
Nate, come on up. So I'd like to introduce Nate Kurtz, the CIO of Veeam. Veeam is an incredible partner to Salesforce, first with their backup data and recovery management solution, and then as a customer of Salesforce for 15 years. So Nate, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Annie. You know, this is my first Dreamforce event, so super excited to be here today.
Okay, day 3, you made
Day
it through
3.
everything.
Yes.
Did it live up to the hype, your expectations?
Yeah, you know, here's what I would say about Dreamforce. There's a certain energy here that I have not seen replicated in any other event like this. I think it's something special and just glad to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the ability for Revenue Cloud to help our customers sell through any different sales channel. And I couldn't think of a better customer to tell the story of selling through the partner channel than Veeam. So would you mind telling the audience a little bit about Veeam and how you go to market today?
Yeah, so Veeam is the #1 data resiliency company in the world. Gartner Magic Quadrant leader, IDC #1. We're actually an ISV customer partner too with Salesforce. So we may be protecting some of your workloads as well. We sell 100% through the channel. So we have 35,000 channel partners. We have 550,000 customers. And so just a rapidly growing company. And just to kind of scope what I mean by data resiliency, think of backup, recovery, ransomware protection. Whenever something happens, we like to say we can help you bounce forward because those things are going to happen. We're all going to experience them at some point. And so the ability to respond quickly is vital to keep businesses running. Now, why I'm up here, and I think the problem set that we want to talk about is Veeam has historically sold its product through a perpetual sales model and a perpetual product. So we've been rapidly expanding through our subscription product offering. And so as we're in that rapid growth in that space, we turn to Salesforce to help us out.
Yeah, well, making the move to subscriptions is a huge undertaking for any company. I know many of the customers we've worked with in the past moving to subscriptions was one of their things that they were working through. How has this move impacted Veeam overall?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, subscriptions are rapidly growing. Just to put this into context, we have 22 million customers protected on our M365 product. So that product space is rapidly growing. And what's happened is, like I said, we were historically perpetual based. Our system was designed to be very efficient at selling that. So when I define system, I think of people, process, and technology, and we were very good. We're very good at that. But as we're starting to introduce new sales, new products, new sales models, it's that rigidity and that very purpose-built system that we have is under stress, I would say. And so it's caused us to reinspect how we do quote to cash. And that's why we're partnering with Salesforce.
Awesome. Well, with such a transformational project, picking the right partner is critical. What was it about Revenue Cloud that was so compelling?
Yeah, so there's a few things. I'll talk through what I think is kind of the secret sauce of the product here. So when we were looking at really overhauling or rebuilding our quote to cash process, we turned to Salesforce and Revenue Cloud. There's a few key things that really kind of stood out. One, to have a single platform that does quote to cash is just so critical. I tend to operate under the philosophy of a single platform or a platform first strategy. And so when you can have CPQ, contract management, billing, all of those under a single platform makes things so much easier. One of the highest risk things of actually deploying a project of this complexity is integrations, the common data model between those various modules. We're not having to integrate managed packages or various software solutions through this. And so really, I think just having that single platform that we can build on is absolutely critical. I think too, within the product, there's inherent best practices or standard industry practices inherent within it. And we are going to take, I've heard through my career many times, a out of the box approach. We are taking that to the extreme. And so as we layer in Revenue Cloud, there are going to be very few customizations as we go through it. We want to leverage the native capabilities of the platform. Salesforce has been in business for over 20 years. There is a lot of best practices built into that product, and we want to take advantage of that so we can keep things simple, so we can accelerate our growth within the subscription space. The other thing too is I just think the Salesforce community is so broad. We're going to be able to leverage that Salesforce engineering and the expertise that they bring. So we're super excited about the partnership that we have with Salesforce in this. One thing I should have mentioned too, so not only are we putting in Revenue Cloud, we're also going to re-implement our CRM, our Salesforce CRM in this. And again, that's an out-of-the-box approach too. And then we're leveraging MuleSoft for API management, and then Spiff as well, if that wasn't enough, all in one fell swoop as we're going through this. So we really think when we're through this, we're going to have a very, very clean, consistent way to interact with our customers and transact our business, which is going to accelerate our growth.
That's awesome. Well, I have to ask you one more question before I let you go. You can't be anywhere at Dreamforce without talking about AI. How does AI play into your overall strategy?
Yeah, so if data is one thing we know, it's what we know at Veeam. And I think I talked about a common data model and being able to have, and what I mean by that is how do we define a customer within each of our capabilities or our systems? It's all consistent throughout the platform. And so by having good, consistent data is going to allow us to take advantage of many of the emerging AI capabilities. I've seen a lot around here on Agentforce. I'm excited to play around with that and see how it can add ROI and value to our business. As we're going through this as well, it's also giving us an opportunity to layer in governance over data. Things as simple as who can create and modify a customer account. We're able to build that in from the start as we go through this initiative, and we think it's really just going to set the foundation to enable us to leverage all of the latest AI capabilities that Salesforce has to offer.
Awesome. Well, Nate, thank you so much for your time, for sharing your story. Let's give Nate a round of applause. Thank you so much. Veeam truly is a transformational story all the way from pipeline to paycheck on the Salesforce platform. So I'm really excited to get the team back here next year to share the results with us. And one of the things that Nate talked about as part of their journey, as part of this project, is the amazing community and best practices that our Salesforce community has to offer. And that's why I'm so excited to announce to everyone the new Revenue Cloud channel in the Sales Blazor community in Slack. So here we're going to have a dedicated space to share best practices, resources, and ask all those questions about CPQ, billing, the new Revenue Cloud, and even more. So please scan this, join the community, and start the conversation today. Now, we showed you a ton of innovation today. David did some amazing demos, but we really are just scratching the surface of everything that we have to offer with Revenue Cloud. So I invite all of you to attend our roadmap session today. We have one more at 3:15 p.m. where we will be going over things like our new advanced configurator, our Commerce Cloud integration, and what I am personally most excited for, our Agentforce deal desk. Now with that, I want to thank you all so much for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of your Dreamforce.